$5,000. Cash payment to anyone who can prove that what lying son of a devil FARRACON is preaching is consistent with the lessons, supreme wisdom, of Master Fard Muhammad Elijah Muhammad's representation of his teacher Master Fard's teachings.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant. Break us 7 seals. Brothers and sisters, a great day. Greatest day in history. We're going to find out in a minute. This war is a turning point. We're talking about this war for 35 years. This war is a turning point. Dramatic things are going to happen in a very short time before the war's end. Now, I don't know when the war is going to end. That's Master Muhammad's call. It's going to end shortly. Maybe a week, a month. But it's going to end soon. But before it ends, some of the most dramatic things that you've ever thought of, you're going to experience. A few more days, a few more hours. Well, I know the war not going that fast because certain things have to happen first. Like Mr. FARRACON has to be expose and depose. One of the things. You see what's going on in the Middle East now? America's been forced out of the Middle East. I told you that would happen. Been forced out of the Middle East. All the base been hit, been forced out. And the lies are off the page. If it wasn't so-called social media, the lies everywhere. Total darkness, brothers and sisters. So I'm doing somewhat of redux, but I'm going to point out a few things I didn't point out the other day. This idea about Jesus. See, the angel reveals everything. It's that greater light they talk about in Genesis. See, Genesis is also, but it's sealed. It's not like Exodus. Exodus is kind of like wide open. Right? It's a little sealing there because it don't put the actual names and things. You know, it doesn't say FARRACON when it says talking about Aaron. It doesn't say Messenger of the Covenant was actually talking about John. No, see, so there's, you know, it's low level sealing, but it's sealed. But Genesis is a little more than that, but still open. I mean, it's not easy. Just, well, let me clarify that. It's sealed just lightly. Exodus is probably the most lightly sealed book in the scripture. Mostly light, because all you got to follow the path. The only thing you got to just plug the right names in, pretty much. Just plug the right names in there. But in Genesis, you got to make a couple of reorganizations. Because in Genesis, it talks about, you know, the seven days. It talks about this greater light and a lesser light. Now, the greater light was the sun and the lesser light was the moon, but they would be brought into existence within 500 years of each other. Well, okay. Well, that's exactly right. The Injil was revealed 2,000 years ago, and the Quran was revealed 500 years after that. The Quran is the lesser light. The lesser light. They want to tell you, see, light here represents the moon. That way you get, I talk about that Ramadan, all that, you know, it's that moon. That's the big, you know, and oh, the moon is a big thing. And some people call it the moon religion, but that's no story. But they tell you, oh, that's the light forever. No, it was a lesser light. The guy, you know, until the brighter light was revealed. And now the brighter light, that's the angel, but it was sealed, right? It was sealed with darkness. See? You say, okay, at night, right? You can say the sun is sealed with darkness, right? But then when the sun comes up, darkness disappears. Move the darkness, there the sun is. See? At any rate, that's the great light. So now light is shining. Before that, I can't even say that the people that's familiar with the angel, because I don't think anyone is. I know people that say, but I don't think that. Based on, anyway, I'm going to get to that in a minute. The thing is that reveals everything. Things that the Quran doesn't reveal. It reveals the Quran itself. You know, people with the Quran, oh, that's the Quran. Well, and many things they can't tell you. Who the jinn? They don't know. Some mystery thing, whatever. Who's Adam? I don't know. So it doesn't add up when they say it, right? Who the angels? Oh, angels are invisible. And somebody tell the angels they sit on your shoulder, right? Yet still, if we Adam, all of us are Adam, then the angels would be submitted to us. And they said they would, and they submit to Allah. Well, if they submit to us, they should obey our commands, right? Hey, angel, you can't even see them. They're supposed to obey your command. If you listen to that, what they explain to you, right? Oh, angel, would you prepare a dinner for me? Try it. See? So it doesn't make any sense. But they say it anyway. Now, what's the explanation? Then when they say, oh, well, that means something else. Well, no, it means what it says. But they got to distort. Got to go up in contractions, contortions, to try to See, every time I try to explain the scripture, Quran or the Bible, they get contortions. Oh, and stuff does not make any sense. Like the FARRACON talking about, well, you can't believe in flesh, right? But Elijah Muhammad said God's a man, period. He is flesh, and until now. Well, that's what we are, brothers and sisters. So the brighter light, everything. And what happens when the light comes out of the darkness, it destroys the darkness, destroys it. That's happening right now. But see, it does it gradually. Like the signs are there because the universe, the way the universe is break, the Injil is part of the universal structure. So that's why it says you can look at how the universe works and understand a lot of these scriptures because all of it's the same pattern. Like the night is not at dawn. The night is not going. It's just weak. It gets weaker and weaker as the sun gets stronger, stronger, stronger. By noon, the darkness is totally eradicated, gone. No evidence of it all. Maybe a shadow here and there. That's it. In fact, even at noon, there's not even any shadows. Right? Because straight up, you can't get a shadow. All the light is totally gone. All 12 noon light is totally eradicated. Wherever noon is. See, that's the way it works. And that's what's happening. Angel is eradicating this darkness. All the advocates of darkness, all the agents of darkness, all the angels of darkness, totally eradicated. That's where we are right now. Okay? So you got those fighting against it. Yeah, people, the night, they fight against it. They can't. Once the darkness fights against the light, but it has no chance. Cannot win. So we're going to talk about a few things here, but let me play a couple, then I'm going to get into some things, and then it's going to be short, brothers, since I believe so much going on right now. Let's move on. Okay. Well, I need to straighten something out here, brothers and sisters, because they don't get it. See, these Levites, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. It tells you. They turned to God against them. They turned Elijah against them. And only one, right, that was holding out. But Son of Man, remember, it was up to him. But it says, Son of Man, preach to the four winds. If he don't do it, they don't resurrected. It was left up to him in the end. Says, preach to the four winds. If he decided not to, that's the end. That's the end of him. Then he pissed off everybody else. Elijah Muhammad spent 40-some years. He put all that work and effort, sacrifice, jail, and everything else, and all he went through. And they turned on him in a heartbeat. I want to say they turned on him in a heartbeat. He says, what the hell is that? I mean, that man sacrificed for these people. Muhammad came here and spent 3.5 years. Well, he spent more than 3.5 years, spent 3.5 years with Elijah. But if you look at Elijah's Torah, he spent maybe 20-some years altogether, or back and forth. He didn't have to do that. At the time when we was totally covered with shit. We had shit coming out of our eyes, our ears, everything else. We were so messed up. He had to handle us. He had to handle us to God. He did that. Right? Ain't to Elijah, it's okay, Elijah, you got to finish the process. Right? You got to finish the process. See? You got to lift him up. You got to wait for the message of the covenant who's going to pull him out of that shithole and clean him up and get him home. And that's what he did. He suffered. And like it was like he had done nothing. They turned him in a heartbeat. And then the Messenger of the Covenant didn't sacrifice everything for them, and he's not even a Levite. Sacrifice everything. His family. Would say riches in their minds, riches, because like I said, he had his own business, everything was sacrificed everything. His children, everything, because they're all lost. So they'll be already lost. He gives a message to them. He ain't asking for anything, nothing, zero. He's giving a message to them. And he didn't ask for any followers. He asked for anybody to come and help him. His job was to gather you together as many as he could. It's not mine. I just get information. But then they come here with their bullshit. See? Now, like somebody come uninvited, and they come shit over your house. That's why I said just burn that tree down. Because I got to waste time, valuable time, mess with people who's wasting my time. No time for that. It's not my mission. And they produce no value whatsoever, none, zero. Worse than that, causing problems. That's my last time, whether they listen or not, my last time I'm going to say anything, because they don't understand the structure they're heading towards. Because you're not supposed to fuck around with this message. This message is a pure message. It tells you the last thing it tells you in chapter 22, don't mess around, not even change the word. I mean, don't register. I don't need to, that's why I don't want any followers. I don't need to explain what I'm doing. This right here, that's a bullet. The bullet leaves sonic waves. Everything is waves, frequencies. See, and I'm really tired of having to go back. I'm putting the wrong person for the job. I'm telling you, I am. I really get tired having to, because like trying to explain addition of track to a gorilla. I can't explain the simple stuff. So I'm doing things that's more complicated, and I'm not trying to explain to you what I'm doing. I'm trying to explain to a gorilla, and it's a waste of time. I got a mission. I'm going to say this. I'm not going to go too deep into this, bro. My mission is to get the information. The preach is what we preach, teach, express the angel, break the seals, explode that light. People said dark seen a great light. That's the angel. After the crown. That's the moonlight that held us until the angel came. It was a light. So I got to go into, I waste time doing this kind of stuff. I'm going to say it, this is like a mercy, right? My mission, because the way my mission is, first of all, is a nation is a sovereign nation, but a nation that's corrupted by offspring of the other nation. What do I mean by that? You got the devils, we under their control, and then their children, the black-faced children, they raped, right? Wore the cheap clothing, they infused amongst us. Now we all mixed up together. So he says, he wasn't told us, he said, no, you can't separate them. That's my mission. I got to first, I got to separate them. I just give them understand who they are, get their mind back. Once they get their mind back, then they can separate them out of here. You first got to separate demons from them, get their mind back, and then now they separate them out of here altogether. So the thing is, I used to have a presentation. I think that's one of my channels they shut down, right? Called Demon Slayer. Because that's the job. I got to slay the demons. Says he had destroyed the demons. Not just separate them and destroy them. So they won't come back, get back in again. They can't mix up because they're all mixed up. That's caused confusion amongst our community. Our community is not only locked down and oppressed, but it's confused. It's confused because of the demons. FARRACON is the chief demon. The father of the devil. So the thing is that I'll give you an analogy here. Right? My message has to have two components to it. Part of it's got to slay the demons. The other part is to wake up my people. So you see this bullet here, I'll keep telling you, right? Waves of frequency, this message, waves of frequency. I'm teaching on higher wave, higher frequency than devils are. That's the frequency our people can achieve. If they react to it, they can move to higher frequency wavelength, and then they be out of control of the devils. Then they can go home. So, how to achieve that? Well, you need a force to achieve that. So, I shoot a bullet, it produces. It's a bullet that produced that. But the bullet, right? What does that do? That kills the demons. Okay? So I fired the demons. Right? And my message is to produce a wave of frequency that will activate our, the Levites. Right? At the same time, kill the demons. And that's too complicated if you understand. Okay? Make sure when they hits them, it poison to make sure it does the job. See? So it's directly at them. So put shit on it. So the bullet got shit on it. When it hits them, it hit them. And don't just wound them. Because if it hits them, it's going to poison. The shit going to poison their system and finish them off. But the bullet has movement. It's producing wave of frequency. Because the bullets are aimed at the demons. Okay? But the frequency and everything, it spreads out. Everybody picks that up. You understand? It makes sense? So you understand that. See, that's what I don't have to explain to other people. I tell them, if you don't do it like I said, do it this way, don't do it at all. Okay? Because you got some people, they're shit slingers. They don't understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. They're shit slingers. So out there, hey, FARRACON, look, damn, he's shitting there with no bullets. Okay? So we get a reputation of being shit slingers. I'm not going to have that shit. I'm not going to have you fucking around with this message. Then you give somebody, they piss on it, shit on it. No, it ain't happening. They can't produce a bullet, but they can sling shit. Because that reflects on me, because they represent me, try to dress like me and everything else, but they're slinging shit. Those are the verses. That's why he said he's consumed with the spirit of his mouth. It's bullets. It's struggling, the brightness of his coming. So it has two purposes. Slays the bullets, slay them, but the wavelengths, frequency that it produces, right, activates my people, activates the Levites. They're my people. Say that. If they come up, they wake up. So I don't need shit slingers. I don't need puppets. Not cup, canaries. What they call them with yeah, whatever. Parrots. But I don't need parrots. I can just I want to keep repeating myself. I can just keep playing this over and over again. I don't need any. That's why I never asked anybody. If they come on, right? They just go in there and start. Plenty of ammunition, go in there and get some ammunition. How you get ammunition? Go in there and start breaking some of the verses down. That's how you get your ammunition. But nobody's doing that. Going to be parrots or shit slingers. And they're going to pay a heavy price for it. They think it's a joke. It's not. They got all this. I already told you. I said, leave that to me. I know what I'm doing. So now I got to explain it in more detail. I don't have to explain a goddamn thing to anybody. What I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. So I did, oh man, you did this here. FARRACON, he's shooting. Who's the bullet? The shit slinger. I don't waste shit slingers around here. You get breakfast, but there's shit slingers over there. That confuses our people. They didn't see us clearly. When they look at you and see, oh, they get a clear message, and then they see you and they think, oh, well, you represented me, so then they get confused. Don't need that. Shooting bullets and dropping bombs. Bombs are the same thing. I'm dropping them, right? But bombs also create shock waves. Destroy the demons. At the same time, I have to do both. So I combine the two and the two. My job to do both. So that solves the problem for both. My message is lift one up and destroy the other. Same message. It's the same light that illuminates, blinds others. That light's too bright, it blinds them. And illuminates light further. That's duality. Okay. I'm a scientist. So I figure how they gave me this mission, so I got to figure out they gave me, I'm sitting around and just recite the thing. No. Study. Because I said, I don't do anything half-assed. What's the best way to get this message to these people? So that's what I'm doing. I got to explain to you, oh, you want to be like FARRACON? No. Well, I'm talking, like I said, I put shit on my bullets. Right? Because I'm aiming at the demons. See? I study vectors, but that force produces another force, wavelengths, because it travels through the air. So it's directed, but as it's moving, it also produces a force, the wavelength frequency. And the more powerful that bullet is, the greater waves of frequency. So it's doing solving two things at the same time. It's waking my people while slaying the damn demons. So two birds, one stone, so to speak. But then you out just slinging shit. You can't produce one demon. Can't produce one bullet or one bomb. You don't need parrots. And then even when they parrot, they can't even parrot correctly. I mean, if you're going to parrot, if you're going to repeat what someone else said, and you repeat it accurately, can't even do that. It's a joke. People's lives this nation's lives are dependent upon that. That's why I gave Simpson such a big break, because the Holocaust was not a joke for them. I don't give a damn whether Levites or Shabazz. They did not know, and they saved this nation, and they're going to be rewarded for that big time. I don't want to hear no shit about them. I don't hear nothing about them. Because you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And they hoes and pimps and prostitutes because that's what the devil made out of them. They didn't make it out of themselves. And you ain't doing anything to stop it. And I'm not blaming you because you had an ability to do it. So you better keep your damn mouth shut about it. Unless you will be condemned for falsely accusing them. FARRACON called them sinful. He's falsely accusing our people. He's falsely accusing the Levites. They're sinful people. They're hard-headed as hell. But again, that's a little deep too, because like I said, their gene is not 100% with ours, and that grafting process is a little hard. But they grafted in. You know, they are brother, our twin brother. You know, and I don't know. I mean, I used to think twins DNA was exactly identical. I haven't looked into it, but apparently, as far as Esau, Levi's concerned, there's a little discrepancy. Because it's hard as hell trying to graft them in to be full part of the body. But they are twin brothers. Esau. Well, that's something I'll look into one day, but that's the case. I always thought that identical twins had identical DNA. Maybe there must be some discrepancy somewhere because we're having a problem with grafting, because we have a problem with the lick. The lick goes all out of here. The grafting process is a little difficult with them. That's part of the problem here. But we're doing everything we can to make it work. Problem is, they ain't doing anything on this side to make it work. They turn everybody against them because everybody's come to the conclusion we don't need them, man. See? That's what God says. They forget them. We just use you. Told Elijah, we just use you. We let you repopulate. We lose, right? We just take you and populate the Levites from your seed. Not with Ishmael. So now I make a nation out of you. Forget them. So my motivation, not because these brothers, because these sisters. That's why I hang in there. That's why I hang in there. Because these Levite sisters. Because they don't know, and they ain't getting any guidance from their own people. They ain't getting no guidance from their own men. Like I said, that we owe them a great debt. So that's why the reason I haven't walked away from them. We owe them a great debt. Because like I said, they didn't know this Levites. They didn't know this Shabazz. They just took and put their life at risk when we was in a Holocaust to keep this nation alive. Because as far as the devil's concerned, only ones that could produce our seed was the ones that had what they call them, what they call them, but they would have them, what they call them, but they would have all they do could produce more slaves. So they take the strongest one, right, and have him. All he did was just put a seed. I forgot the name they can use for that. Produce more. So they have to go to Africa and get them, right? So they'd have one. I forgot what you call it. He would just. They put black women in there, you just keep sowing the seed, produce more babies. See? Other than that, why you study these stupid movies? No. They didn't have no apartment, they didn't have no room, they wouldn't have no fireplace, they were living together. That's why jumping over the broom came, because they had to do it in secret. If man saw them do it, they'd kill them. You couldn't touch a black woman. Unless Master told you, they told you right in that movie Django. He had to kill another nigga, just spend a night with one of his own women. They had control of it. And as a result, half the nation is their children. But they would see, they had a whole movie called, what was that name of the movie? Journey of August Jones. No, the name of Journey of August King. That was the whole movie about. Because this devil had produced a child, one of his female slaves. And now she was close to teenage or whatever, right? And he wanted to rape her. And he got away. And he found, and anybody black he thought that might have had touched her, he was cutting them in pieces. You don't understand the whole history there. You didn't have you couldn't touch a black woman unless master, she had to get permission. And a lot of times that was like a reward. Right? Okay, if you take and produce 2 bales of hay this week, right? Today, you sleep with Mary Sarah this weekend. Yeah, it was a reward. And she'd be out there picking cotton just right with you. Most time naked, because slave master jumped to the attachment, what they call him, he would jump down his horse and do his thing and tell you better not, you already been over, you better not stand, keep picking that cotton. That's the kind of stuff they was doing. And you better not see stand right, you better not say, you better even look. What you looking at, nigga? He raping her. And she got to keep picking that cotton. You better not stop. And on top of that, right, she couldn't even sleep at night, because at night, he come in there, she done worked all day, she may get 2 or 3 hours sleep, he come in and then tell you to hold her down while he raping her. You couldn't touch her. It's kind of shit. It's a lot worse than that. That's stuff that was going on. Okay? So, wherever she could slip and slide, she'd come to you and say, hey, bro, I don't know if she called you. Maybe he called you nigga. That's the only word we knew for each other. Would you see to me? Because these black women, they're intelligent. And she looking ahead. Because she's thinking one day, my son gonna get these motherfuckers. Yeah. Oh, he used that word. Yeah. I'm trying to make it real. That's what she was thinking. That's the only word she knew. She might even wear a word worse than that. One of my sons, my grandsons, gonna get them eventually. We weren't even thinking like that. Sisters, they you don't know these sisters. I don't know them that well either, because I'm not one. But I tell you, they think way ahead. That's how they get you. You sitting around here jumping and popping and doing your thing, and they spot catch. They catch sight of you. They start scheming. I'm gonna get this nigga. Yeah, that's the word we're using. Maybe I'm still using it now, but some a little more intelligent. They say, I'm gonna get that bro. And they start thinking. Next thing you know, you got a ring on their finger. Not too big, what happened. And it's gonna be long before you even knew they was even looking at you. See? Got me a couple of times. That demon wife, boy, oof. But you think all the bullshit, and they think how to get you. And that's what it's thinking. It says, one day, that's where the motherfucker came from. I call it rape, slave, what they call that. They had one slave, he would just, and he had him doing his own mother. Their kids bring a female in there, mother, whoever, and you used to have sex with her to produce another. That's where the term motherfucker came from. I'll take a word for it, check it out. So you say, okay. One day, my son, my great grandson, whoever, is going to take these motherfuckers down. That's what it's thinking. And they put their life, because they got caught. They would kill them. They would burn them alive. Everybody told you to go. And even if she got pregnant and they suspected that it was master suspecting wasn't theirs, Elijah Muhammad taught about that. They would cut her stomach open and snatch the baby out and stump it, crush it. This is what our sisters had to go through. And they were warriors. They put their lives on the line. Not just have sex. Keep that seed alive, keep nation alive. And I ain't going to forget it. I'm not going to forget it. I ain't let nobody forget it. So, well, that's not. I'm going to get into something else and I can get into it. Anyway, that's what's going on here, brothers and sisters. So I'm not going to have you going out here slinging shit. And you have no bullets. You're a shit slinger. If you're out here trying to impress me, you are wrong. This ain't about trying to impress me. I'm not trying to impress Master Muhammad. I'm trying to get a job done. You're not impressing me. You impress me, go out there and get some bullets. Break some bushes down. Then maybe you can coat them with some shit. Right now, you're just slinging shit. I'm not going to have that. You want to do it? Start your own thing. Don't go anywhere near this or me. Last time I'm going to say this. I'll say it again. Can't be messing with this. I can't be watching you, see what you're doing. Anybody watch me, see what I'm doing. Pay for this. Nobody told me to do it. It had to be done. I still get a little trouble. So they trick me into this angel, but hey, I'm in it. Come on, brothers and sisters. Same thing with a blast. Bomb, boom. Got them bombs in it, blowing demons away. It also produces shock waves. Shock waves and everything else. That's the angel information. Bomb gets the demons, the information gets on people. Two things at one time. Okay. I gotta explain this. I shouldn't have to explain it. If you got to the level where you was using bullets, you probably understand some of it. But you don't understand vectors, you don't understand forces. You understand that stuff. Let me move on. Now, here's something else here, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to get you to understand what's happening and what's about to happen here. It's going to be total chaos. I'm sure from another perspective here. Now they keep talking about diversity. It makes it sound, see, the whole world, in other words, the angel shows you that the whole world is in dark. Everything was in darkness. I mean, everything. But you thought it was the light. Right? Look at, everything. Religion. Is Jesus' character. Right? The jinn. This system. This is the system of Adam. Adam was a system of darkness. Total darkness. Total darkness. And you got a brief thing with the moonlight to give you some light, but just a little moonlight. That was the Quran. Without the Quran, where you had the stars, you got a lot of stars out there now. But when light comes, the stars also. They only survive during the night. They're part of the night. You think the stars are light? No, stars are part of the night. Elijah didn't represent a star; he represented the moon. I said, oh, he said moon. Now he's talking about Sunnism. No, say, okay, you want to go that route? Go ahead. So everything is total darkness. Everything. So everything you knew was totally wrong. It was totally dark. Jinn, Ramadan, Ramadan was based on moonlight. So it's okay for moonlight, but not when the sunlight comes out. So Elijah Muhammad, like I said, he's prepared to wait for sunlight. So he told you Ramadan is wrong. He's right about that. Master Muhammad is right about it too, because it's part of the moonlight. But we transition to sunlight. He's not preparing you. That's part of his way of preparing you for the rest of the covenant. But they wanted to hold on to the moonlight and the stars. The stars running around here. So they the light. Follow me. The next. Silas. Son of Sham. Oh, they're going to be all gone in a minute. In the most horrific way. And look at this. Now, say it's a nation. Now, say it's America, right? So they got black people, white people, brown people, everything. Right? I'm just saying, I'm not saying that black people represent us. I'm just saying, let me give you an analogy here. You say it's mixed up like that, right? So when you put pressure on something, right? When you construct something, you construct it like struck it out of steel. You should be all steel, because steel can handle so much pressure. But if you mix steel with iron, iron may not handle much pressure still. So the strength of that would be no stronger than its weakest part. You understand? The structure of it would be no stronger than its weakest part. So if you make it out of steel and copper, iron is no stronger than the copper. So that's the weakest part. You see, it's no stronger under pressure. The strongest weakest part. So you got to be careful. That's why we put right. When we finally, like I said, we was just one. All that was gold. When you see, understand the Injil, we first came out, but now we all mixed parts. Now it was just all gold, and now we got green, we got red, you got black, white. You see, all mixed up together. That makes us weak. But we're no stronger than the weakest part. If we was to unite like FARRACON telling you to, we would be no weaker, be no stronger than the weakest part. So it would look strong, but you put pressure on it, it will collapse because it's no stronger than the weakest part. That's why you had to remove the chaff out. See? But even so, the structure we have, right, it's going to be all original, but it's still not strong enough to survive more than 6,000 years. That's why it says Master Muhammad, you have a structure strong enough to withstand this pressure. Right? But the pressure keeps increasing. So that structure will not last more than 6,000 years. It's much better structure we have now. It won't last more than 6,000 years because it's still mixed. See, I'm getting a lot deeper here. I told you, I'm getting more into it as we get, because we're into it now. Right? Okay. But right now, America's talking about diversity. And that's the idea of what's about to happen here. So diversity, but America's coming under pressure. So America cannot withstand it because it's got all this diversity. If they was all, right? That's why Europeans last a little longer than them. But they don't have much diversity as this. You understand? Like Russia doesn't have that much diversity. That's why it's strong as one. It's still not strong. They're strong to survive longer. But America will be first to go because they got all the diversity. They say it's their strength. No, it's their weakness. Because as the pressure increases, the weakest ones are going to collapse. That means the structure becomes deformed. That's what happened here. Because when the pressure increases, you see it right now. See, because when you pressure something on, like I'm talk about that too. It exposes all the weakness. The pressure is exposed. It's like when you exercise, right? Okay, you found, oh man, you was doing all right, doing your legs. Okay, your leg wasn't, your rest of your body was built strong, but your leg still was Let's start building. So I'm working on this muscle today. I'm working on that one. Because you got to bring them off to speed, because otherwise you top heavy, but you weak. Like, strong muscles, but weak legs. Or strong legs, but weak, you know what I'm saying? You got to make it all consistent. So that's what happened. So America, but because they all this it, that's why we have this pressures. You see all the, right now, everybody's against everybody. Even the so-called MAGA and so-called Republicans start turning each other against each other, and then all the political unrest, economic unrest, social unrest, right? You got racial unrest. Because the pressure, everybody reacts differently. They won't act consistent with everybody, in harmony. They can't achieve harmony because they got all these different parts. See, that diversity they were celebrating so much, it's going to come spectacularly disaster. Okay, just right now, you see what's going on in the Middle East. That's putting pressure. See how much pressure is put on America? That's the focus point of the pressure. That's why it says, men's hearts be filled with fear. Those things come from the earth because powers have been shaken. So that shows you the direction the pressure is coming from. I try to get you to understand these things. See? So in other words, the more worse this goes, the greater pressure is on here. So we personify everything. So therefore, you can see what direction the pressure is coming from. Because what? Right now, all their forests over there, they got the high plus oil, and now they finally told the truth about it. America doesn't have strategic petroleum reserves; they're empty. That means if there's it's going to happen, they lose control of that oil in the Middle East. So economic collapse here because they don't have reserve. It's SPR, they call it, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, because they were supposed to fill it back up and use it, to keep the oil prices low, and then fill it back up. So they don't have any backup. See? So that's another part of the pressure. And then the conflict with Russia. All this is tied up with what's happening in the Middle East right there, right now. Because the conflict with them, they have low men. Anyway, the bottom line is, that's the direction this pressure is coming from. So you watch that. That's why it says that is causing greater pressure here. That triggers Armageddon. But the pressure here will cause them to collapse much sooner because everybody could be against each other. That's it. Everybody be against each other. Why? Because you got diversity. Everybody's going to react to pressure differently. And some will crush before others do. So the whole thing of America be totally in chaos, distorted. The whole structure is going to change. I'm giving you a small example here. See? So how you put pressure, that's what happens. Oh. The ones I hear say crack. So now the whole thing is distorted. What does that mean? It's distorted now because those pieces are gone. It's going to be much worse than that. We're going to say you got so much diversity, so therefore everybody's going to be against. So everybody's going to polarize, right? So in order to try to maintain strength, all the Indians going to try to come together, or the Hispanic will try to come together, or Chinese will try to come together, or Germans will try to, you know what I'm saying? But now you got total chaos. Everybody's against each other. But now, when they're together, right, they're not moving. But now they banging clap with each other, right? Because they're separate. I'm trying to get some mathematical idea about the happening. It's going to be total chaos. But the point is that you was able to stand the pressure better than anybody else. So now you're going to be in that, and there's going to be total collisions. But that's what temperature is. Atoms hanging against each other. That's what pressure is. They're moving fast. The heat, remember how fast they're moving? And the pressures, and the intensity of the collisions. And that's what tribulation is all about. The collision is going to be intense, like you've never seen before. But in that situation, you are the steel clad with the porcelain, the tin, right? The aluminum, You get it now? You'll be colliding with all of that. But now if you unite it, you understand? Then they can't harm you. They can't do anything to you. They're tearing each other apart. They be colliding, it's destroying each other. They can't destroy you. Yeah. You got your mind. You got to have only way that you have to have your mind back to unite the Chief Hajj. When Chief Hajj, nothing they can do to you. But you still have to go through. They be climbing, you can still be the pressure. The heat will be intense. The intense heat, because everybody move fast, because the pressure is great. The temperature will be really hot. Move fast, everybody's colliding, total war, total chaos. But you, because you are the most, if you applying those 5 pillars, now your structures, you're steel. But you got the material, but like gold, you got to turn to gold, you got to turn to diamonds, right? Now, you already done that. That's what happened to Holocaust. It made you diamonds. Okay. So now you got your mind back so you can unite, and nothing they can do it. They're going to collide with you. But every time they collide with you, it's like a Volkswagen Beetle colliding with a Lamborghini. Lamborghini might get a little bump. That Volkswagen Beetle is totally destroyed. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to collide with you, but they won't be able to put a dent in you. That's why I said nothing they do to harm you. They won't be able to put a dent in you, but you're still going to be here in it. That's assuming that you have applied those 5 pillars, and then you got your mind back, and now you achieve Hajj, you united. Nothing they can do to you. You're going to walk through, but you're going to be high as hell. You're going to be walking through the flames, the furnace. There's nothing they can do to you. Nothing. They're going to be destroying each other with total war, total chaos. I'm trying to show you more, trying to understand it more mathematically, not just like, oh, you just got to believe in something. No, I'm showing you the math of it. This diversity, right, was good for them when it was in energy deprivation. In other words, but now the spring is coming. It's in your favor. That's why they want to keep you from achieving Hajj, achieving to get your mind back, achieving a discipline. Therefore, now you are separated. They can bang at you, you keep banging with you all day, colliding with you and hitting you and all day long. But once you come together, they can't do anything to you. That's why with nothing, baby, nothing. They'll be wash their robes and blood of the lamb. There was nothing they can do to harm you. Nothing, zero. Once you do that, because you're the strongest, you the steel. Walk through the furnace. They're the porcelain. They're the tin, the aluminum. They collide with each other, banging and destroying each other. They can't. They're going to collide with you. They can't do anything to you. You throw a glass against iron, and the iron says, what happened? It goes, scratch me. I got an itch. And the glass is totally shattered. They won't attack you. That's why it says, Son of Man will come just before they do it. Get information to you. Those don't listen, they got to be fleeing. They make it. You start coming together, so therefore when they attack, you survive it. You understand how this stuff works, brothers and sisters? I turn to mathematics up. It's just talk. Let me move on, brothers and sisters. Got that or not? Got another thing about. Now let me see if I can make this clear as possible, brothers and sisters. Hold on for a minute. Let me check something. Check something first before I go into this. Let's clean that.
Would you
Please send her back here, please.
No, you working too.
Please send her back here. Please. Okay, brothers and sisters. You're gonna see what I'm saying now. I know you're not gonna get it right now. You have nobody else here. So just being me alone. Say, look, there was no one to help. The point is, it's amazing. But in a few minutes, something about to happen. There's something that will happen during this war. During this war, there's going to be a breakthrough that you're going to recognize who the Messenger of the Covenant is. They say they saw him and he came to him right away. Something's going to happen. How long does war last? A week, 2 weeks, a month? I don't know. I don't see anything that gives me information. There's something that I need to look into again. But it still comes down to Master Muhammad says, no one knows but him. He's the father, he's David. That's why I use that father-son relationship, because he's spiritual David. He's the one who takes down Goliath. And Suleiman, that of course, son of man, is a son. That's where Suleiman comes from. Son of man is son of a man. Even if you go with that idea, it still shuts down FARRACON. FARRACON said, he ain't flesh. Well, if son of man is flesh, wouldn't he be anyway? So I'm putting information out there, and so when that light comes up, when you see a bright light, all this information will be available to you. Be available to you. While the economy is still here. And I've been trying to look and see if I can find a way to put this information in a form that you can only use look later in batteries, because the internet and all that stuff is going to go bye-bye. But I haven't come with anything, so, and like I said, I'm having to help us. So we'll see how that works out. But you're going to get the information. But said people said dark is in a great light. And that I'm going to be preaching you for the next 35 years. That's going to happen. That's not going to happen. In a very short period of time. Then I'm out of here. I will not be with you during tribulation. That's something that you're going to have to resolve for yourself. You want to be God's. God's don't sit around and look for other people to help them out. In other words, they're not God's then. Like I said, they've been planning this. Let me put it this way. Exodus is very lightly sealed. So the devils knew about that. They knew who we were. They started this planning right there, because when you go and look at this stuff, it says, hey, wait a minute, why all this stuff pops up? You know, if you look up capitalism, there wasn't even a word until they started enslaving us. The economic system didn't exist. It's not and capitalism is a system of enslavement. Maximum profit, minimum overhead. That means if they can get you to work for nothing, word capitalism, look how old it is. What is a coincidence? The name of Jesus was never ushered. Nobody even it wasn't in anybody's language until it started enslaving us. Around 1600s. All this stuff that pop up all of a sudden. But they saw Exodus, they slavery, they saw what was there. It was told not to touch that tree. Now, if you as soon as they could tell you that tree is, they're talking about don't touch. Preachers can't tell you. Mr. Son of Sham, he can't tell you a goddamn thing. He don't know shit. Well, he does know shit. That's all he knows. But all these things were said because they knew that you was going to rise. They saw a situation, and they saw they had the kingdom, and they wanted to keep the kingdom. Remember, the Adam they talk about here didn't get the kingdom until about 5 years ago. That's the Adam they're talking about, not Adam 6,000 years ago. Adam 6,000 years ago didn't rule the planet. They didn't take control of the planet until after the 1,000 years in the Dark Ages. That's what chapter 20 is all about. Gog and Magog. Control of the planet. That's the Adam they're talking about. And we submitted. So they had control. And they was taught about us. They was told all about us. You just say, it's telling you, tell them their names. They were told all about us. They know who we were. They told, don't mess with them. They did anyway. They knew who we were. They knew all about us. They said, hell, we ain't going to. They said, hey, we're not going to turn our rule back over to them. We're going to keep it. That's what they turned on us. They said, we're going to keep it. They was given rulership and they want to keep it. They want to maintain it forever. It tells you, if you read those things carefully, it said they knew who we were. They told us our names. They had more knowledge than we had. And they had us in submission, under their control. And they decided, we're gonna keep his control forever. We got an aim of submission. That's us. And the Jinn said, hell, I know we ain't doing that. I explained that story too, right there. See, that's very simple. I got somebody comment or whatever they don't know what they're talking about. It's very simple. But see, they tell you the jinns all humanity. All humanity does rule the planet. Only people who rule the planet is the Caucasians, Gog and Magog, Britain and America, the only two world powers that you know about European history. We are told submission to. We're the only nation in total submission to them. And there's another nation that's totally averse them in every respect. That's the Sunni Arabs. They don't want the democracy. Do you know of a Sunni Arab country that's democracy? Not one. You don't know of anyone. They don't want democracy. They don't want the capitalists. Not one of them. They don't want any of the system. They don't want any of it. They reject it all. Like they said they would. No, I'm not going to submit. They will submit to them. They make friends with them. They was told not to do. Do not make friends with Jews and Christians. They make friends with them, right? But they will not submit to them. And we did. So who's the Muslim? We the Muslim. They're the jinn. They refuse. They was proud. So we're not going to submit to that. We're going to hold on to your old ways, the old Islam. It says it right there. We're going to hold on to the old way. We ain't going to submit to this. But no, he said, okay, you're cursing. Yeah, you may. Yeah, I'm going to worship like I was worshiping before. No, no, you're cursing. God said, no. He said, well, hey, that's kind of backwards. I'm going to keep on worshiping you the way you taught me. And now you rejected me? And this person right going to turn away from you and worship somebody that's totally against you? And how does that make any sense? That's exactly what it said there. Happened to make men shed blood. I mean, they wasn't worshiping in God the way you understand it. But they were in submission because they would do what God told them. He made them. So that was a season. So you understand the season thing. You understand the season then start making sense. You may be God of the summer, but when the winter comes, who's the God of winter? Satan, the God of this world. It's just amazing to me. It seems like it's so beautiful if you're just good in it, but you can't lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. Yeah, Levites, they've been the greatest Levites ever. They stood up and studied and got on top of this. They didn't do it. They don't make sacrifice, whatever. That's up to them. That's their business. Anyway, you understand? So the thing is that's who they are. It's clear. We're going to do the old way. We ain't going to add. We want Adam's calendar. I mean, they totally reject it. We want to keep the old calendar, lunar calendar. So now Ramadan is every twice a year, 13 months, when the Quran clearly says that's wrong. See, but the old ways, we don't keep doing like we the old ways. And they said, no, you're wrong. You're a jinn. You're a disbeliever. The ones that submit to Adam, wicked, evil Adam, them the ones that's a real Muslim. That's deep, ain't it? That's what I said. That's deep. Yeah. That's what it is, brothers and sisters. The true Muslims, the real Muslims right here. The true ones. The only ones right here. Well, those were Master Muhammad. Let me make that qualification. But once he raised the witnesses, that's his call. Okay. I don't want to go too deep into that, but they're Muslim. They're Muslim. The Shia. But they don't reject. They don't reject. They reject some of Adam, not all of it, but the Arabs reject all of it. They're the jinn. It's clear. That's what we are. So, and you go back in history and look at history, you start seeing some strange things that happened about 500 years ago. The name of Jesus was never heard any place on the planet. The name didn't exist. All of a sudden, Jesus. Before they were saying Joshua. That's what scriptures say. And I showed you. That's how I did yesterday, I believe it was, the day before. I'm not going into all the detail now. I explained it clearly. You can go Google it. It doesn't exist. It's a pagan god. But they did that to keep you from understanding, because they knew Exodus was our ticket home, and so they distorted it. Oh, that's in the past. And they don't tell you about Joshua. They'll say Joshua, because if you look at Joshua, wait a minute. Even I don't care how slow you become as you look at Exodus, say, hold it. 40 years, we did be at 40 years, right? And then Elijah will come, and then God, then this messenger of the covenant will come, and this Joshua will come, right? Now, and he's going to come up amongst us. See, you be looking for this figure that's going to save you. But based on what they was telling us, no one's going to save us. If we obey Master, Jesus going to save us, but we'll still be slaves when we get home, to get to heaven, if we get there. See? So, in other words, you didn't have a Messiah. You get it? You didn't, as a people, we had no Messiah. Their Messiah was this Jesus, and if we obey him, maybe that Messiah, right? Because that's the same one that cursed us black and caused us to be enslaved. Their Messiah, the Jesus they tell you about, he's the one that cursed us black and said we'll be slaves forever. And so long as we obey Master, then he'll be nice to us. He made us less in heaven. That's the story you had. That's the story they gave you. And you walk on the cross and stuff, that's still the story you got. That's their Messiah. Satan is God of this world. He wouldn't be God of this world if the most powerful country of this world wasn't under his control. He says it. He says all, and he told Joshua, he said, I got all nations under my control. Okay. That includes the jinn. They might be in submission, but they resist the submission, but they're still under his control. It's still clear, brother. It's clear, brothers and sisters. But you got to get that fog out your mind. So that's another mission I have, because if that's possible, because I have to find leaders for you to get you to tribulation, because the ones that came forward, they couldn't lead you out of a burning building. They didn't care about you. They did. They would have got on a case. They'd be firing bullets instead of slinging shit. Probably one of the cracker stuff, parrot stuff. That's a challenge. Maybe I'm successful at it, because I'm not going to stay here and do it. Maybe I'll be successful at it, maybe I'm not. But you're going to need somebody to lead you through tribulation. Achieve harsh unity. Who is that person going to be? Or persons? We'll see. Anyway, if you go back, capitalism didn't exist to them. That's a slavery system by definition. Jesus didn't exist. His name didn't exist anywhere. All this is conspiracy. And now they know at the end of 40 years, that's all this COVID came along. Explain COVID. COVID was designed to take us out, and it backfired. But still, they had a backup. If COVID didn't get you, the shot would. And a lot of our people died from the shot. That woman, Ava, FARRACON's female, whatever she was, right? That's why they're hiding. They're hiding her death caused because she took the shot when she told everybody not to do it. A lot of them was taking it. They tell you one thing, they do something else because they all lies over there. So let me see what else I got here, brothers. I'm going to close. Things change because remember, the point I'm trying to go to is they know who you are. Now they know that 40 years over, and so that's why all of a sudden everybody behind Trump and nobody's pulling them in. The courts don't say to them, the Congress say to them, because they're all on board. Because the whole agenda is to get he got the God says that's no coincidence. I said when you go for a competition or whatever, a boxing competition or a football or whatever, you gotta train first. You gotta train on dummies. So make sure you got it right. So now they got the so-called they train on Hispanics, so-called immigrants, to see how to round people up. They can be trying to teach people how to do that, how to round people up. Do you know they train their police? The police department, they train them over in false Israel. Why did they send them over there to train? Why did they send them over there to train? Did you know that? Why send them over there to train? And that's what this genocide is going on, which America is the one that's sponsoring that genocide. If you sit out there, you might hate somebody, whatever. If I give you a gun and ammunition, and you start shooting people, now that's what you're going to do with it, who is the one that's doing it? You might be angry, but you can't do a goddamn thing as I give you the gun and ammunition. And America is giving the gun and ammunition. So America is the one that's sponsoring that genocide over there because they're getting people used to. That's why the media's not talking about it here, because they get people used to acclimated to the fact they commit massive genocide over here. Intelligence security, they're getting ready to get rid of you. So they're trying to get people to adjust to it. And the media's not talking about it. So when they start doing it, the media won't tell the world that's what they're doing. That's what happened in so-called Germany. It was so-called Holocaust. There wasn't any big media and everything, and they kept it quiet. And most people didn't know that was going on until after the war was over. They get ready, and ISIS, their idea is how to round you up. Use them to learn, okay, they get experience on how to round people up. They know how they look. They get experience on people used to just killing you, women and children. If they do it to them, what you think they do to you? They hate you much more than they hate those over there. They look more like them than you do. So they do it to them, what you think they do to you, and they hate you much more. They set this whole thing up to get people used to doing it. Did you know they're over there? They got a lot of Americans over there. They ain't telling you that. A lot of Americans over there in the military, the so-called false Israel military, committing genocide, in practice. Because of dual citizenship. They said they would come out to destroy you. They're cut off from being a nation. But they don't want you to know that. That's what got FARRACON there, to keep you quiet, to keep you distracted with those bullshit. He's on board with it. I don't want to go nowhere. They're not those anymore. If something happened to me, I would fight for it. The whole thing is a setup. But Master Muhammad, they plan, Master Muhammad praying, he got the best of plans. And I'm planning it. And that's why he's going to make us move quick before they're able to do that. You understand Genesis, the whole thing about Adam and Eve, that is right in that story too. I'm not going to get into it. You understand, brothers and sisters? They're closing in on you. That's why it says, if you think these things too, it says, when you see abomination, desolation, right? You see the Jerusalem armies, it says, flee, don't go in your house, get your baby, don't get your clothes or anything. Just think that one through for a minute. They tell you about you here. They want to attack you here. Just think about it in a minute. If you got to flee like that, you can't go and get your clothes. That's not the police coming for you, because, I mean, you got time. That means, if you got to do that, means they're right at your door. If you got to flee and panic like that, it means they're at your door. It's already been planned already. It ain't something that's, oh, let's go after them. They're at your door. It means the trap is already set. All you got to do is pull the trigger. You got the gun at your head already at that point. All you got to do is pull the trigger. We're trying to tell you before they get to that point. That's what it's all about. That's why you hear all these clowns that are in that bullshit. They don't have no explanation. They don't even tell you about it. If they knew about it, they don't tell you about it. If you're going to flee like that, it means you're already in trouble. It's already, the plan's already set. Okay? That means they're already at your door. So if that's the case, it means that's why some will be lost. Our people lost for lack of knowledge, because you didn't have the foreknowledge. And so therefore, if you had to flee in those conditions, what if you do go in and get your baby? What if you do go in the house? What if you do stop and text? You're dead. And some will, because they didn't get this message. Yeah, if you do flee, where are you fleeing from? You out in redneck land? You got to flee 10 miles of redneck land? You ain't going to make it. Terrible time coming, brothers and sisters. Okay? And you're fleeing. You're fleeing to the Nation of Islam, wherever that's going to be, quite a time. People are trying to get me to tell them. I'm not going to tell them. And then that's where you come together and see the great army. Get your mind back. That's if you make it. Keep Hajj. Then you go to battle, because you're going to have to battle out of here. Remember I said, everybody, if there's collision, that means they're colliding against you, and you can fight back with them. You have to explain that? It's going to be total chaos here. Everybody's colliding with everybody. Right? That means you'll be fighting there. But then you'll be victorious. So our people will do exploits. But if you understand, so people know that God will do exploits. It means now you know you got your mind back. All those stories, they add up. But you have to get to that stage. And that's what the critical point right now. Because this is the time when this will all be happening, and you have to get some information, and they're doing everything they can to keep you from getting it. Something's going to happen in a minute that's going to wake you up. Some of you anyway. He was in dark sin and great light. So you won't be fleeing in panic. You'll be out of there. We'll be setting that trap. I'm trying to protect you from that trap that they got set for you. It's almost closed. It's almost set. If you're in a panic, that means it's already set. It means they're in process of setting it. That's what Trump is doing right now, preparing for people get used to genocide. You don't even hear about it over here. Total genocide over there. Gathering people up. ICE. They're building detention centers, which are concentration camps. They don't need them anymore. That's why they build them. They build what, bigger in Texas, bigger in Florida. They said deal truly with them. We don't want them to see it coming. I'm telling you. I'm the only one telling you. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Something's going to happen. It's going to shake you in a minute. I'm going to leave it there. Let me see what else I got here, brothers and sisters. Here. I already explained this, so look at my previous presentation. The name Jesus originates from the Hebrew name Joshua, a derivative of Joshua, meaning Yahweh is salvation. It was translated to Greek as whatever those names, right? And finally into English as Jesus. So they made it up. That's the original name in the manuscripts. That's the name they actually used for thousands of years. This made up 500 years ago. That's why let's say Christianity is 500 years old. Because this Christianity has only 500 years old. This name Jesus, only 500 years old. They made up to keep you locked down, to freeze your mind, keep you in captivity forever. Let's look on. The name Jesus didn't exist on this planet before 1555. Didn't exist. There was no such name. Made up name. Joshua is Jesus' real name. This is not my words. Google. Joshua, Jesus, is his real name. That's the name he was named at his birth and named throughout his life. You call him Joshua. If you say, gee, you would know who you talking to. The name didn't exist 2,000 years ago. It didn't exist 1,500 years ago. It didn't exist when Prophet Muhammad was around. It came in existence 500 years ago. Made up name. So you can read that. I already explained this, brothers and sisters. Let me read. The first New Testament was written in Greek, made states after his death, made decays after death. In other words, it was translated to Greek, made decays after his death. What? 1,500 years after Joshua, his real name, was dead. 1,500 years later, right? It was translated to Greek. That's how it translated Greek to get that name. And it changed ultimately through translation. Through translation, it changed ultimately to Jesus. There's no character named Jesus. Something they made up since Greek had no whatever, right? So if you knew Jesus 2,000 years ago, you would call him by that name. You would never have heard of it before. You would have called him by his actual name, Joshua. That's what he would. Who is Jesus? But you praying to Jesus. He don't exist. Don't take word for. Go look at history. Everything I just said right here, I didn't make up. It's there, but they don't want you to read it. They said if you want to hide anything from a black person, just put it in a book. Okay? And then Jesus originated from the Hebrew name. Well, okay, I'm gonna have to close, brothers and sisters. The name Joshua did not change to Jesus instantly, but evolved through translation over centuries. Greek, which became later Jesus Dingus. Okay, let me move on. Okay, here it is. The pagan origin of the name is pagan. Jesus, pagan name. Moreover, according to exactly true, this Google, this apprentice, I make it. The name Jesus is a combination of two mythical deities, mythical, not real people. A Greek god. And Gnostic and Greek mythology are actually one and the same pagan deity. So it appears the name Jesus has some documented pagan origin. It's something they made up. He don't exist, never did. The person that existed, Joshua, they don't know about him because he's the one who's going to deliver. He's a true Messiah. Not goddamn lion-ass FARRACON, son of a devil. That's why he never mentioned Joshua. He never mentioned the covenant. Never mentioned the covenant. Never mentioned the covenant either. But he says, "Oh, Elijah's last messenger." Where it says Malachi? No, he says two messengers. The messenger of the covenant. Okay, I'm gonna close bounces here. I'll explain this. But all this revealed while this war is going on. That's why I'm going full speed ahead. What's going to happen during this time? This war is going on. How long the war going to last? Another couple of days, another weeks. Go right here, brothers and sisters. Iran's exploding. They see all this crap over here. They're kicking ass over there. That's the end result. When they overcome, everything's going to collapse. But the point is, before that, right, you're going to have to get this information. But at that point, you'll be fleeing in panic. The war is over. 6 seal. I'm gonna close, brothers and sisters. Watch this, I'm gonna close. Time frame, brothers and sisters. I told you exactly the time frame. This is what was at stake. I'm gonna explain it in my previous. I gotta go, brothers and sisters. In the FARRACON, thrones are cast down.
Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
Assalamu alaikum.